So, you've just bought your first Apple Watch or want to brush up on the essentials. Well, you've come to the right place. In this video, I will go over everything you need to know to get started with your new Apple Watch. Now, I'll be demonstrating this on my Apple Watch Series 7. However, much of this also applies to the Apple Watch SE as well as the Apple Watch Series 3, 4, 5, and 6. As always, I will leave all the purchase links down in the description. Let's get started. Alright, so to start, let's do a quick physical tour of the watch itself. Now, on the front, of course, we have the display, which will have the watch face, and then taking a look at the left side of the watch, we will find the side button. Now, the side button is used to activate things like Apple Pay, as well as multitasking between different apps, all of which are things we'll get into later in this video. And then just next to that, we have a small hole, and this is the microphone. So this is used for Siri, as well as making and receiving calls. And then we have the digital crown. Now, the digital crown can be used to go home, access the home screen, as well as used to scroll through menus, and is also part of the ECG mechanism. And then over here on the right side of the watch, we have a single cutout, and that will be for the speaker. And this is used for Siri's feedback, as well as any notification sounds that are coming in. And then on the back of the watch, we have all of this array of sensors. And as you can see, this will be for the heart rate monitor, blood oxygen, ECG, compass, and much, much more. This will all be housed on the bottom of the watch. On the bottom of the watch is also where you'll find these two little buttons here, both on the top and the bottom side here, and these are used to add and remove bands. So let me go ahead and show you just how to remove the band. So what we're going to do is use our nail of our thumb here to kind of dig into this button, and then once you feel it press in, simply slide the band either to the right or left side to quickly remove it from the watch. And you can go ahead and do the same with the other half. Now, this watch band mechanism that Apple's had on the Apple Watch is really great as it has remained the same over the years, and this means you can use a variety of first-party bands such as this sports band that I have here. I also have this beautiful leather third-party band that you can also use that again uses that same mechanism, allowing you to very quickly add it to the watch. So to add the band, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to align up the two, slide it in, and you'll sort of hear and feel it click into place. And once that's into place, it's really going nowhere. We'll go ahead and do the same with the top half here. Again, slide it in and hear it click. And then this here is the charger that your Apple Watch will come with. Now, the Apple Watch Series 7 comes with a new charger that not only has this nice aluminum casing, but will also allow you to charge the watch at up to 33% faster. So to charge the watch, simply find the white part of the charger, which will have this circular indent, and you can use this to simply rest the watch on top of the charger. So you're going to align it with the sensors on the bottom. Now, there are also magnets both in the charger as well as in the watch, which will help you align it, and then it will quickly snap into place and then start charging. Alright, so now that we've done a physical tour of the watch as well as looking at how to remove and add bands as well as use the charger, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the essential gestures. So first, swipe up from the top of the display to bring down your notification shade. Now this will look very familiar to what you see on your iPhone as well. Notifications here will be grouped by app. So let's say here I have multiple reminders or multiple notifications from a single app. I can then tap into it to expand that view and bring up both notifications from this specific app. And I can go ahead and press done to collapse that view as well. Now, if I want to remove a notification, I can simply swipe to the right and then hit that little X, and that will remove it from the display as well. Additionally, if you have a new unread notification, you'll get a little red dot that will be visible in the top center of the watch face. And then next we can swipe up from the bottom of the screen, and this will bring up the control center. Now this will give you quick access to many different settings right on your Apple Watch. So first you can see your battery percentage, and then tapping into that will also allow us to turn on power reserve mode. Now, power reserve mode is something I recommend only using if your battery life is really low or you really need your Apple Watch to last for a very long time, as turning this on will turn off the vast majority of the smart features of the smartwatch, basically only allowing you to tell the time. Now, power reserve mode will automatically activate if your Apple Watch is below 10% battery. We also have options like to turn on and off your Wi-Fi, as well as an option to ping your phone. Now, if you say you've lost your phone around the house and you're just not sure where it is, simply tap this button. And as you can see, a sound will then instantly play on my iPhone until I trigger it to stop. And this will make it very easy and quick to find your phone if ever you lose it. We also have the option to turn on or off silent mode, so this will silence any notifications or say a response from Siri. And then we also, if we scroll down here, we have the flashlight. Now tapping this will turn your display into a bright white, and then if you tilt your wrist away, you can see it gets significantly brighter. Now while this won't necessarily brighten up an entire room, this is useful if, say, I don't know, late at night you are looking for your charger cable or you're looking for your keys in your backpack. For these kind of occasions, this is definitely a useful feature to have. You can actually also scroll through different lighting options, so we have this sort of strobing effect. This is maybe better if, say you're biking and you want to alert oncoming traffic. And you have this red one here, which is maybe more of an SOS signal. But you can swipe through these. So the actual flashlight screen, I actually use it more frequently than I thought I would. It's actually quite useful. And then this brings us to the watch face. Of course, an integral part of any watch, but especially the Apple Watch. So to switch between your watch faces, you can swipe between them right on your watch face. So simply swipe from the right and left to cycle between your different watch faces here. And you can take this a step further by pressing and holding down on the watch face. And this will open this secondary menu where, again, you can swipe between your watch faces, but you can also customize a watch face. So we can go ahead and press the edit button, and this will allow us to then use the digital crown to cycle through all the different color options. Now, the layers of customization will be grouped into different sections. So first we have the color section here, as seen on the top of the display. I actually kind of like this standard color with this nice navy blue and red. And then we can go ahead and swipe to the right to go to the next section to customize. In this case here, we have the complications. Now, complications will be available on most Apple Watches. And complications are really almost like small apps running in the background, and that will always be up to date and visible right on your Apple Watch screen. So in other words, simply flicking your wrist will give you all of this information right at a glance. So you can see we have things like your temperature, as well as your activity rings, but you can also add shortcuts to open a specific app. So say here you can tap this to open your mindfulness app, tap this to open your voice memos app, and we can tap onto these individual complications here and customize the function. So you can see we can just scroll through here with the digital crown as well as our finger here and see what kind of a broad range there is of different functionality to add. So let's say I use the workout app very often and I want a shortcut to access that app quickly. I'll simply tap on that and we now have the workout app always accessible right there in the top right of the screen. And then finally, in this watch face, we can also tap on the date to either turn this on or off. So we can turn this off to have a slightly more clean look. And then once we're happy, we'll simply press on the digital crown and then press it again. And now we've modified our watch face. As you can see, tapping on this top right corner now will automatically bring up the workout app and we no longer have the date visible. Now, when it comes to watch faces, I found myself switching between a more minimalistic watch face, such as the contour watch face here. This happens to actually be my favorite watch face on the Series 7. I just love this minimalistic look that it gives and how it really takes advantage of that larger display with those thin bezels pushing the text, or the numbers rather, right to the edge of the screen. However, if say I am traveling or working out, I like to have a little bit more information on my screen. This is where I particularly like the GMT watch face, as it also allows me to have 2 different time zones as well as those complications. Now, one thing I do want to say about complications, while I do think they are a fantastic feature to have on your Apple Watch, it is important to remember that they do take up significant battery, as essentially these are small apps that will constantly be running in the background, particularly things like your activity rings or your temperature, and will also constantly be fetching new data. So turning these off or limiting the use of complications will save battery if, say, you want to have your battery last longer. Using a more simplistic watch face will help you do so. And then this brings us to the home screen. Now, to access the home screen, simply press once on the digital crown, and this will give us this grid view of all of your applications. Now, we can use our finger to simply swipe between them here, and we can also use the digital crown to zoom in or out, so to bring more or less apps into view. Let's go ahead and open up a couple apps here. So let's say I'm going to launch settings, and then to go back home to the home screen, simply press the digital crown once. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up the App Store here. So I've just opened up 2 different apps, and let's say I want to quickly switch between those apps. A handy little shortcut to do this is to simply double click on the digital crown. As you can see, this will then instantly switch between our 2 most recent apps. So I got the App Store as well as our settings here. So just a useful little feature in case you find yourself switching between apps. And then to return back to the home screen, simply click on the digital crown, and then to go back to your watch face, simply click it again. Alternatively, if say you are in the home screen and want to go back to your watch face, you can also click the watch face icon that you'll find in the middle of your home screen. Next, I want to take you through a few of the essential settings to change on your Apple Watch. Now, the Apple Watch has a fantastic built-in settings app that you'll find here in the lower left of the home screen. We get this little recognizable gear icon, and this will allow you to scroll through and change many of the settings right on your watch. So the first thing that I highly recommend doing here is going into the General tab, clicking on Software Update, and making sure that Automatic Software Updates is turned on. What this will mean is in the background, the Apple Watch will automatically download a new update, and then once it is on charge, it will automatically install that new update. Now, especially for newer models such as the Apple Watch SE or the Series 7, Apple is constantly adding new features as well as security updates that you want to make sure that you stay on top of. And having this feature turned on automatically means you don't have to think about it. It will just all be done in the background. And then next, we're going to go ahead and click back and then scroll down in this list. And then we have the option to look at your storage. Now, this isn't really a setting to change, but rather this is a very useful screen that will give you a clear overview of how much storage you have available on your Apple Watch, as well as what exactly is using that storage. So especially if you have an older model Apple Watch, such as the Series 3, where storage really is limited, this gives you a very clear breakdown of what is taking up storage, allowing you to clear and prioritize according to what you like to have on your watch. And then back on the main settings page, we're going to scroll down to display and brightness. And in here, I recommend keeping your brightness at roughly the midpoint, so either here or here. The auto brightness on the Apple Watch is really excellent to adapting to your surrounding environment. So if say you are in a bright, sunny condition, your screen will always turn the brightness up high enough to a point where it is clearly visible. At the same time though, if say you're using your watch late at night, it will automatically dim the brightness to not wake up anyone else in the room if say you're using your watch late at night. So in terms of the brightness, just keep it roughly at the midpoint, also to save battery. And then we also have options to switch or to increase or decrease your text size. So you can go ahead and turn this up. Now, increasing the text size will of course mean that it becomes more easy to read, but at the same time will mean that less text can be visible on the watch at a given time. So that means you're going to have to probably spend more time scrolling, whereas decreasing the text size means you can have more text available on screen. So I like to keep it at the default. I think that strikes a pretty good balance, but you can change this accordingly as well. Now, next we have the always on display. Now, this is a feature that is only going to be available on the Apple Watch Series 5, 6, as well as 7. And this is something that I absolutely love. And what this will basically mean is your watch face will always be on. So regardless of whether you are looking at your watch or whether your watch is unlocked, your watch face will always show with the time and any complications that you choose to show. Now, I think this is one of the best features of the Apple Watch Series 7, but if you are looking to save battery, you can always turn this off. Next, we're going to scroll down to sound and haptics. Now, you can go ahead and change the alert volume here right from the watch. So we can go ahead and turn this up. You can hear it increase and decrease. You'll also feel the taptic feedback vibrating as I do this here. And you also have the option here to trigger silent mode. Now, I like to keep my watch, just like my phone, on silent at all times. Now, the Apple Watch has a fantastic haptic feedback that'll essentially feel like a gentle tap on the wrist, which means that you'll never miss an incoming notification, but at the same time, it won't create this loud ding sound effect that will disrupt anyone else in the room. Instead, you will still feel the notification come in, but it won't be distracting enough to take you out of your current task. So I like to keep silent mode on. Again, also helps save a little bit of battery as the speaker won't be working as often. And then on the topic of saving battery here, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to Siri. Now, Siri is a great feature on the Apple Watch, and it's something I use every day, whether it be to ask for the weather before leaving home, or even for more complicated things like getting directions for a route to take. But there are many different ways to access and activate Siri. So by default, all of these three will be on, including the listen for the keyword. I'm not going to say it out loud to not trigger your Siri, but all you have to do is say this phrase here, and it will automatically turn on Siri, and it will then listen for your command. Now, this option is also available on the iPhone as well as on your Mac, but on the Apple Watch, I highly recommend turning this off, as this will save an immense amount of battery, as if you have this feature on, it will mean that the microphones are constantly on in the background, listening for that command phrase to activate Siri. So instead, I like to use the digital crown to turn on Siri. So simply raise your wrist, make sure your watch is unlocked, press and hold the digital crown, and this will then trigger Siri, and you can then say your command. So very simple. Again, saves you from having to say the trigger word, and most importantly, will definitely save you battery over time. So as you can see, many of the settings can be adjusted right on your Apple Watch, and this I think is really great. However, if say you want to dive in deep to your Apple Watch settings or change many settings at once, I recommend using the Watch app. Now, this is an application that will come pre-installed on your iPhone, and as you can see, this will give you a very clear overview of all your current watch faces, as well as allowing you to quickly add and remove watch faces, but also give you a more in-depth look at all the settings. And again, if you're going to be scrolling through a lot of data, I recommend using the Apple Watch app instead on your iPhone. And then while we're here on the Watch app on the iPhone, I want to show you two more suggestions that will really have a big impact on your Apple Watch's performance as well as the battery life. So first is notifications. Now, I love receiving notifications on my Apple Watch. In fact, I would consider this to be one of, if not my favorite features of the watch, but I am very careful with which notifications I allow coming into my watch, as if I were to let all of my notifications come in, it would get a little bit much having my watch going off all day. So instead, I am very careful to manually select exactly which app I want to allow to send notifications to my watch. So for example, I allow things like banking apps, messaging apps, or calls. That way I know that when my watch goes off, it is something important and worth looking at. And again, having less notifications coming into your watch, as well as being good for your well-being, it is also good for your battery life. And on a similar topic here, quickly, we're going to scroll into General, and then we will go ahead and click on Background App Refresh. Now, as standard, Background App Refresh is going to be on for all of your applications installed on your Apple Watch, but in reality, many of these applications simply do not need to be running constantly in the background and refreshing, taking battery life as well as affecting performance. So for this, I highly recommend manually going through all of your applications, seeing which you use and which you value, and therefore allowing or disallowing them to run in the background accordingly. Now on the top here, we do have the option to disable background app refresh for all applications. This is something that I do not recommend ticking. For example, certain applications such as your mail or your alarms, maps for example, you would want to have running in the background, as you'd want this data to always be up to date. So definitely don't turn it off for all apps, but just off for apps that don't really need to. So take your app store, for example, calculator app, audio books, contacts list, right? These are things that do not need to be running in the background. Alright, so that gives you a look at some of the essential settings that I recommend changing on your Apple Watch as well as on your iPhone to make it a little bit easier. But now let me go ahead and just show you a few more of the essential functions of the Apple Watch, starting with multitasking. Now, just like on the iPhone, you can do multitasking on your Apple Watch, and to activate this, simply press the side button once, and this will bring up the multitasking screen, allowing you to quickly cycle between all of your open apps. You can use your finger as well as the digital crown, and then you can quickly tap into and switch between any open app that you may have. Now, if say you want to close your app, you can simply swipe to the right, and then this will bring up a little X here, and you can tap that to close the application if you like as well. And the next is activating Apple Pay. Now, Apple Pay is a feature that I really enjoy using on my Apple Watch, and it's something that I use every day, whether it be for public transport, buying that morning coffee, I even use it for groceries. And to activate it on the Apple Watch, all you have to do is simply double click the side button twice, and this will allow you to quickly cycle between all of your cards. And once you've selected your card, simply aim your watch at the till to make your payment. And then finally, to shut down the watch, simply press and hold the side button. Now this will bring up this secondary display here, and allowing us to swipe to the right to shut down, as well as swipe to reveal our medical ID, and also swipe to call emergency services. Now this is a very useful feature to have on the Apple Watch. This is of course something you hope to never need, but it's useful to know that it is there. Alright, so that gives you a look at the Apple Watch Series 7 Essentials. Hopefully this video will help you get started with your watch and get the most out of your Apple Watch. I do have a more thorough and in-depth guide coming very soon, which I'll be sure to leave linked at the end of this video if you want to check it out, as well as my Apple Watch Series 7 review. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, and take care.